This morning we have the opportunity to hear testimony from our brother Josh Ritter. So if you haven't met Josh before, Josh is an interesting character. Met Josh a long time ago, actually at our old building over in Hiawassee, and it's been an awesome journey to see where he was then to where he is now. The interesting fact about him is that he is a firefighter. So whenever I say that, usually people go, ooh. Because they imagine somebody actually fighting fire, which Josh does, but he also does a lot of other things. But God is moving in his heart and in his life, and it's going to be great to hear how God is continuing to move, and particularly in his time in Ecuador. So if you could welcome Josh to the front.
Hi, I'm back. I think this is like the third time in like less than a year I've been up here, so like I don't know what's going on, but if I wasn't used to public speaking, I should be by now. I had the privilege and the honor of going down to Ecuador with Harvest. Actually, a little fun story as to how that even came to be. One Sunday, Pastor DL announced that there was a bunch of applications for Ecuador on the back on the table over there. And I was just toying with the idea of it, went over there, picked up a piece of paper just to look at the dates to see if it was even feasible. And before I could put the piece of paper down, I had a few people come up to me, and there was a couple of, you should totally go take that home and pray about it. And oh man, I'm so excited that you're going. And I was like, no. I was trying to hurry up and put the piece of paper back before more people would say anything. And I decided to take it home. Someone came up to me, they're like, seriously, take it home, consider it. So I took it home, prayed about it. And I think I prayed about it one time, came back another Sunday, and I was already introduced to a bunch of people, and there's the next team member going down to Ecuador, and then Miss Sarah was pulling me off 5 minutes later. She's like, you gotta be in the Ecuador meeting in 5 minutes. And I was like, I didn't even fill out the application, but I went to the meeting, and I guess that's where it kind of happened. I was locked in, and I was ready to go, and I was really excited. So there are a lot of things that happened on the trip. Not even going to get into it. You can write a whole book about it. You've heard everybody else's testimonies about their experiences with training, which was all great. This testimony was a little hard for me to kind of write up. My service on the trip was mostly with the medical team, which was very unexpected. I didn't even know that there was a medical component to the Harvest's mission, and it was very, very interesting. The miracle was how a small group of us from completely different backgrounds actually came together, and we were able to work together. For those of you that are in the medical field, actually this is more for the people who aren't in the medical field. If you don't know, most people that are in the medical field are extremely type A. Like, we have control issues. We have to be in control of certain situations. We have to take charge. We have to be in leads. So, like, putting a bunch of type A people together and expecting anything to get done can sometimes be an extremely difficult task. But the fact that we were all able to get together and somehow form a clinic and build up a clinic just out of nowhere, each day in different locations, was in itself a miracle. A lot of times, small changes to make things happen within a clinic or to make things go a certain way can actually take an act of. It'll seem like it takes an act of Congress, but we all work together, and it seemed like the clinic kind of just built itself up and just started backfilling people in. Like, there were positions that were already there, and then people just kind of assumed and like stepped into the role, and that was it. We had a little triage center going. We had optometry in one corner. We had dentist in another corner, and people were just filing in. It was amazing. So everything went smooth, and then my prayer to God was that He would show me that He wanted me to be there by blessing me with the opportunity to provide care to the villagers of Ecuador. The first day, we only had a few patients, and I bounced back and forth between the children's ministry and the medical ministry, which was amazing. It showed me that even though there seemed to be two separate missions, that we were both completely in sync. I got pulled back to medical for another patient who wanted to be seen for his legs. I know somebody referenced this in their other testimony, and this one was a little difficult for me because it seemed like a very basic routine patient. He was sitting there, and he had swollen legs, and there's nothing I could do for him. And he was complaining of pain, and he couldn't walk for days. And for people down in Ecuador, their work is their life. So, literally all we did was just throw on some ACE bandages, gave him an Advil, and we told him, hey, sorry, there's nothing more that we could do for you, and we sent him on his way. We came back to the village the next day, and I was in the middle of doing VBS, and I got pulled out, and someone was like, hey, you got a house call, you got to go. And I'm like, okay, I didn't even know that was a thing in Ecuador. So it's like, well, where's this house? And they're like, well, it's over there in the midst of the different little huts. And I was like, okay. So we went over, and he had ran off into the jungle. He disappeared. And we were all trying to find him. We were trying to, we're scouring for him. And I was told that, hey, listen, we're not going to find him. And people were panicking because they said that the swelling had gotten worse and it engulfed his whole body, and that he said he couldn't walk at all. So I wanted to stay there, couldn't stay there. We had another village that we had to go to. We took off to the other village, and it was like clockwork again, like a boom. The clinic got set up in that location, and everybody just backfilled. God had answered my prayer, and before I knew it, there was a line out the door of patients, and didn't even have enough time some of the times to take a break, get a sip of water. It was like as soon as one patient would get up, another patient would just be right there and just fill that spot without even being called in. We treated everything from fevers in children to things I'd never seen before to bugs in eyes. I think optometry had that, and then but in my mind, it kept playing back and forth. I kept thinking about the villager back from the other village with the legs, and I felt like I could have done more. I felt like maybe it was something that I did. I was like, what if it was something I did? What if there was something I could have done to prevent it? And it kept eating away at me, and then it just kind of engulfed me a little bit, and I felt like I was saying to myself, you're a joke. There's no reason that you should be here. You're giving people false hope. There's more times I was telling people, no, there's nothing I can do for you, than there were times that I was able to actually comfort people and show healing. And so I had to take a break at one point and actually step away from it all, and I had to pray about it. And I wanted to go back to the village. I actually approached our team leader, Chris, and I was like, I have a plan. I came up with a very elaborate plan. I was like, I'm going back there. I was like, we can take the vehicle. I was like, if you let me go during lunch break, I was like, we'll get over there. I want to check him out. I want to make sure he's okay. And he challenged me, and he said, sometimes there's things that you can't do that, you have to let go. You have to let go and let God. Sometimes you just have to fight your self-urges, and God will take care of the situation. And it was, I'm a very, like I said, I'm a person who has to be in control of everything, and it was very hard for me. It was a massive battle inside of myself just to be able to actually cut those ties and cut that control issue and actually let God. And I got back, and I prayed about it. And there were a lot of patients that kept coming in, and God ended up, I think, at one point, God brought me peace in the sense that he reminded me that even though that basically here in the States, even though I felt like I was doing nothing, there's people that were coming in, and we were doing really good work, and people were getting, we were actually helping children with fevers and things of that sort. But here in the States, 911 gets abused a lot. Most of the people who need comfort more than they need treatment, and that's just the fact of it. This can annoy us a lot, but a lot of people just need the hope, and the reassurance that they're going to be okay for the day. The villagers of Ecuador deserve the same exact thing as the people here in the U.S. do. Sometimes they just need hope. Sometimes they just need comfort, and they just need someone to be there, even though you can't do anything for them. They just need someone that's actually willing to listen to them when they say, I'm feeling sick, and then be able to like lay a hand over them and pray for them and comfort them. And God reminded me that the people down there need it just as much as the people up here, and that they're not any different. And that brought me some peace. And throughout the days, more patients kept coming, and then we just got busy to the point to where I kind of started fading out of my, I guess, my sadness. So I learned a lot on this trip, including how to prepare better to serve the people of Ecuador on future trips. There were a lot of things. The medicine that I thought that we would take down there and help to treat the people are completely different, and I never would have thought that. And it's valuable information that I wouldn't trade for anything. This was in so many ways an amazing trip and an experience. I still struggle with some of the emotions that I felt on that trip, but it's through prayer. Like I learn a lot from it, and I'll continue to pray about it. And I encourage any of you who have never gone before and who's been toying with the idea of going to really pray and consider it. There were a lot of great things, and the team aspect of it, just the team building with people and going down there with the church and seeing what the church has done for us and how you all have supported us and praying for us and actually supported us financially. That in itself, just seeing that happen was amazing. And and I just want to thank all of you who supported us, and none of this could have been possible without your prayers, love, and support.